You can clap if you'd like to, start the interview like that.
I feel like this bit's going to be on the interview.
You probably will. So Tom, we're back. The leg's better, it's Tommy Two Legs. Marcin Tybura, July 22nd. How are we feeling?
That's a pretty amateurish question, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest. And we've just spent the last 2 hours together.
Yeah.
So we've already been over it, so.
Well, we haven't. I specifically said I'm not going to talk to you until the interview.
Yeah, feeling good. Feeling really good, actually. I'm mentally in a very good place. The knee is something that was bothering me for a long time. A fucking long time. And I just never wanted to get it fixed, you know. The idea of surgery.
Yeah.
I just don't like the idea of surgery. But on that particular instance, I was left with no choice because I couldn't move my leg. Oh shit, excuse me. And yeah, I had to have surgery, otherwise I couldn't fight anymore. So I knew my leg was bad. I knew that I needed surgery for like 5 years. And I just kept putting it off and off and off and off, and it finally bit me in the arse. My arse got bitten.
It did.
And now.
But we did get a good Peter Griffin meme out of it.
Yeah, we got a lot of memes, and I think this is probably the most not probably. This is by far the most motivated I've ever been.
Yeah.
Just
to get back.
Just because I feel like before it was all going like so smoothly for me. It was like 5 UFC fights, 5 finishes, 4 bonuses, 4 ranked opponents, 2 former champions. Like I'd done everything within the space of like 2 years, really smoothly.
Yeah.
And it was like, boom, this is all going really well. And now I feel like I've got like, obviously I'm still like an easygoing guy, but I feel like I've got a chip on my shoulder.
Really? Just because you've had to face some adversity?
I just want to prove to everyone, and also myself, like, I'm fucking better than Peter Griffin with holding his knee.
Well, that's not the guy you got to prove against. You got to prove that you're better than Marcin Tybura.
Yeah.
You made this fight happen. I said earlier, like, you know, in a way, you kind of did him a favour. You see guys say, "Oh, it'd be my dream to fight in the O2." You've got him a main event, basically by calling for this fight and making it happen. Why was he the guy? Explain it to people, because I think, you know, your last fight was against Curtis Blades, a little bit higher in the rankings.
Yeah, yeah.
And stuff. So why was it Marcin Tybura?
Well, I wasn't really left with much choice, to be honest. That keeps being a lot of people keep asking, why are you fighting him? I'm like, well,
including me.
Well, first of all,
multiple times.
People are acting like I'm a lot better than him. The guy is literally top 10 hardest people in the world. Like the guy's in the top 10 in the world. That's good. Yeah, that's really good. So let's not, and also he's had about 3 times more UFC fights than me, so let's not act like, you know, he's some bum.
Yeah.
Because he's not, he's definitely not. And the reason I'm fighting him is because, well, this is something that I would actually like to speak about. So there's a lot of people in the UFC who like to do interviews and say, oh, I'll fight anybody, you know, I'm a savage, I'm a gangster and all this. But then when it actually comes to accepting fights, they don't actually accept the fight. And there's a lot of that goes on, not just in my division, across multiple weight divisions. And that's happened. And also, a lot of the top 10 were already booked. So I had to fight down the rankings a little bit, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with anyway. Obviously,
the follow-up question to that is, who has turned you down?
Well, there's a few, to be honest with you.
The floor is
Look at the top 10. I ain't name dropping nobody. I ain't. You know what? Sometimes it's not even like they've not just said, I'm not fighting Tom Aspinall. It doesn't work like that. Sometimes they're injured, they're unavailable, they've got other stuff going on. Maybe they're working on another fight that's unsigned at the moment. It's not just like, these guys are all scared to fight me, because it's not like that.
But,
you know.
But also, some of the time.
Some of the time it definitely is. I know that I'm a stylistic, terrible matchup for most of the heavyweights. I know that. And I know that I'm also not the most popular guy in the UFC. I know that as well. I'm still like a bit of a dark horse at this point, I think. And yeah, it's not. I'm not a great person to fight. I know that because I can do everything really well. And now I'm angry. You don't want to see me when I'm angry. You do not want to see me when I'm angry.
Is there, personally, what's the relationship like with you and Marcin? Because right, I think it was amicable at first. Polish relationship. Where are we now?
I've met him a few times. I like him. He's a nice guy. But right now he's my opponent. He's trying to take half of my money. He's trying to take my future away from me, everything that I've worked for, and it's just not going to happen. It's irrelevant whether I like him or not. So I like him as a person. He seems like a good guy. Like I say, we've had multiple conversations on multiple occasions. I know his coach, and we've met before and stuff. We have a few mutual friends in that as well. But he's my opponent, and I will punch him in the face as hard as I can and do everything that I can to win.
You obviously, I'm kind of like being jovial about it, but obviously he's a top 10 opponent.
Yep.
And everyone is basically just like, oh, well, Tom's here and he's here. So they're all expecting you to go out and just kind of fuck him up. But for you, you can't really let that get in your head, because if you treat him lightly, banana skins, you'll fucking slip over it. So how do you think you need to perform against him? Do you have to go out there and just be like, hey, I do what I got to do to win? Or you have to go out there and be like, well, I have to prove that I am actually better and I need to get back to those people?
No, mate, I'm just going there to win.
Yeah.
I'm not really bothered about the other stuff. Yeah, that's to do with other people. Like, I'm there to win. And I think that he's won a lot of his fights by people looking past him. Mm-hmm. And I'm treating him, because at this point, he is the best opponent that I've ever fought.
Curtis Blades would have been. Technically, that.
Well, no, mate, he's a top 10 heavyweight. Like, these guys are dangerous. Your phone's going off there.
I agree. No, I know but Curtis Blades was ranked higher. And I think
well, Volkov was ranked higher. Volkov's beat him as well.
You really rate Tybura, huh? You like...
Mate, he's a top 10 heavyweight, and I think what I was going to say was a lot of the people, they've lost to him because they look past him.
Yeah.
Like, they think, you know, he's kind of like not got the best body ever. He's kind of like lumbering style with an awkward thing. He's not overly flashy or anything like that. So I think a lot of people just think, I'm just going to go in there and run through him. Yeah. And I'm showing him all the respect. Like, I am living perfectly right now to inside and outside the gym to put on the best performance of my life. Since
the injury, I spoke to you right after it happened, right? And you were really down, understandably so. Since you completed Pornhub, which congratulations. You know, hopefully they can restock that for you. But how many times since the injury have you just remembered the atmosphere when you're in that cage, the songs, the cheering,
Yep.
and as the motivation, like, fuck, like how good it will feel to get that again?
I can't wait for it. Like, this is the ideal situation for me, fighting again in London. Especially because I think a lot of people would look at it and be like, that's where this bad thing happened, I'm not going to do it there again. But I'm like, bro, send me back to the scene of the crime. Let's do it again. Let's right that wrong. And to be honest, I just feel like my spirit is a little bit like disturbed until I go out there and beat someone up.
Do you think that's just because, like, the last one, like, you trained so hard for that fight,
I did.
And then it's just bang, it's over.
Yeah,
you didn't even get to fight, you know?
I didn't even get to fight. It was the worst. It was just the worst.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely hungry. And you know what? I absolutely love this sport as well. All that aside, I didn't realise how much I loved it until I wasn't able to do it on a regular basis. Like, I absolutely love this sport. You can tell, I think, with my physique. They're there, aren't they? No, I think my physique's completely changed. I think my mindset's completely changed, and the work that I've put in the time off, I've not just been getting fat, do you know what I mean? I've been super focused on coming back, and I just can't wait just to get in there and just do what I love. Like, this is, I had a decision to make when I couldn't walk, and I was seriously thinking, like, do I want to do this again?
Yeah. And even the camp itself, I remember, was so tough. Fuck, this is because you did back to back, you know.
Yeah. And I love this sport, mate. I can't wait to get in there. Like, I just can't wait to. This is, mate, I seriously think, like, this is what I was put on this earth to do. I was put on this earth to do that. I absolutely love it, and I'm not the kind of guy who has any other. I don't really have much else in my life, to be honest. I don't have much else. I got my children. I've got my children and my wife and stuff, who I obviously love dearly. But aside from that, all my friends are at training. Really, I don't really socialise with anybody outside training. Not right now, anyway, at least. And just everything is just geared towards me being UFC heavyweight champion. My whole life is geared towards that, and I want to fulfill that. I'm going to fulfill that, definitely.
It's almost like everyone always says you've got to find the silver lining of it. In a way, you've basically just been given a brand new lease on your career because you were kind of run down and stuff, and now you knew you were injured. To get this happen, like, obviously the time itself was miserable, but now probably a good thing that you were able to get surgery and come back with a fresh lease on the motivation.
I honestly think like that injury is going to be the making of me. Like I think that pre-injury and post-injury are two like different guys mentally and physically, because I've cut out so much shit out of my life that I didn't need, and stuff that didn't serve me, becoming like UFC heavyweight champion of the world. I'm not talking about in the gym as well though, but I mean like stuff outside that I was doing. And mate, my life now is so regimented. It's like I get up, stretch, eat the right stuff, all my food's weighed, I get the right water in, I go and train, I come back, I sleep, I go and pick the kids up from school, I come back, I go and train again, I stretch again, I sleep again. Like everything, mate, is just geared around this. And that's the way it should have been for a long time, but it wasn't. And
well, you were young, you were learning.
Yeah, I was learning, but now I'm in my 30s now. I just turned 30, so
I was 32 yesterday. I'm still
happy birthday. Happy birthday. Well, the people that I knew, we did wish you happy birthday.
You did.
But
do you remember how that text looked, or should we?
We'll leave that off.
Okay.
We'll leave it off. But yeah, I just feel like me post-surgery and me pre-surgery are two like completely different people.
When you spar and train, it's a bit of a weird question, but percentage-wise, like how much fucking better do you, like, oh my god, I'm landing shots I would never be able to land, I'm able to take down, how much better do you feel for it all?
Well mate, do you know what? I don't like when people sit on interviews and they say like, oh, this was wrong, that was wrong, blah, blah, blah. But I do have to be honest, I couldn't do half of the stuff that I was supposed to do in training. And that, I might just be saying this for the cameras, I'm sure a lot of people think, well, everybody says stuff like that. But like the close people around me, especially like my dad, who's been with me like since literally my first training session, knows that I couldn't do most of my training because I was doing it on one leg. Like the movements that I can do now in training, I've not been able to do them for years and years. Like,
and you were already a guy considered like, especially for your...
Mate, I couldn't even grapple. I couldn't even be on my knees for like longer than 10 minutes. I'd do like 2 rounds of grappling, I'd be like, I'll have to leave it there, my knee's swelling up. So, and this wasn't for one fight, this was for 8-9 fights. This has gone on.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to do it with 2 legs, that'll be awesome.
You mentioned the goal, UFC Heavyweight Championship. That's a little bit of a weird place right now. Jon Jones is the champion, the GOAT, that you've made no secret that you want to fight him. He's probably fighting Stipe in November. You got Francis, who still exists, even though he's not in the UFC anymore. And you got, there's other guys. What do you see for yourself after this fight? Is there a plan moving forward? Do you have it mapped out, or how are we looking at it?
Couldn't care less, to be honest with you. My guy to fight right now is Tybura. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm not bothered about the other guys. They can do whatever the hell they want. Yeah. You've got people holding up the division, playing games and all that stuff. Do what you want. Do what you want, guys. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Right now, I've got to fight Tybura, and that's all I'm thinking of at the moment.
Just as a question for yourself, not in terms of, I want to fight him, but just in general, what do you make of the Francis situation? Like Dana obviously kind of went off on it on the Saturday, and Francis came back at him today about it. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Francis situation.
I try and avoid MMA news a lot because, like I said, I don't have a lot going on in my life other than MMA. So when I'm like in my free time, I try not to do too much MMA-ing.
Yeah.
I try and just so I know obviously the basics about it, and I think if it works for him and he's happy with it, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? If he feels like he deserves more than what the UFC were offering him, and he's gone and got that, fair play to the fella.
Basically business, isn't it?
Fair play to the guy, yeah.
What do we think of Pavlovich then?
Oh, he's a dangerous man. He's a dangerous man, definitely. We have been scheduled to fight twice. He's pulled
That's
out.
Mad to see how...
He's pulled out twice, just saying.
What? No. Injuries or...?
I think one time, one time I was supposed to fight him, and I think they switched it to Volkov maybe, so maybe he didn't pull out of that one. One time he had a visa issue, definitely.
Yeah, that would probably be the same time.
And I
think something happened in their nationality that maybe made visas a little bit tricky.
I can't remember exactly. But I knew what a beast he was then, and nobody really knew him at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not really...
that's why it's funny, because like both of you now, if you were booked to fight, that's like a big fight.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised.
Then it would have been...
Mate, I watched all his fights then, before I fought him, and I knew, before I was supposed to fight him, and I knew that this guy's good, this guy's dangerous as hell, and I still think the same, the guy's really good.
Yeah.
He's a truck. He's a truck, isn't
He's
he?
kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, you said but for like fans and even myself, it's just like, oh, who's this guy killing everybody?
Yeah, mate. When he fought Blades, it was like you couldn't miss him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just one of them nights for Blades or what, but he couldn't miss. The guy just simply couldn't miss. And Pavlovich is dangerous, man.
Yeah. Do you rank him as possibly the second most dangerous guy behind Jon?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I think everyone's dangerous in the heavyweight division, mate. If one lands, you're going over, aren't you? Yeah. Simple as that.
Jon versus Stipe. A lot of people already are just like, well, Jon's going to win.
Yeah.
In your mind, does Stipe have a shot in that fight? I mean, obviously everyone's dangerous, and we know Stipe's kind of been working on getting himself bigger and stronger since his last fight. But do you see that kind of the same way as most of others, where it's like, well, it's Jon's fight to lose?
Well, Stipe's been a bit inactive, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's getting a bit older. Maybe not old, but how old is he? He's in his 40s.
I think he may be.
So it's not massively old for a heavyweight, that. Like a lot of heavyweights are between...
He's either late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, a lot of heavyweights...
I should know that, but I don't.
Yeah, you should. It's really your job to know it. But
I know. Well,
I think he's early 40s, isn't he? Which is not...
42, I think.
Yeah, I got a feeling he's 42 as well.
42. So I didn't know.
If you've been inactive and you're 42... The chips are against you a bit, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Chips are stacked against you a little bit.
And then Jon's been inactive.
John's also been inactive.
He's been more recently active, but even that fight itself was...
Who knows? This is heavyweight MMA at the highest level.
Yeah.
Two massive guys who are really good, punching each other with tiny little gloves on, who can wrestle as well.
Yeah.
You just never know, do you?
Would you be kind of sad to see Jon walk away?
No.
He should be. What, a chance to fight the best?
I just care about me.
Yeah.
You know.
But this is involving you.
Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, I'd love to fight Jon Jones, of course. But he's not like, I won't be upset if I don't fight him. Yeah. It'd be cool if I did. It'd be awesome. Like, I'd love to like that. What a dream. What a dream that would be. But right now, I don't feel like I'm in the position where I deserve to be talking about him. Okay. I feel like I've got a lot of work to do before I get there. And I'm going to do the work. I'm not being like, I can't get there. Yeah. I can definitely get there. Is he going to be there when I'm there? That's up to him. I don't know.
Well, we'll take out the person, and then we'll do the where. Like, you got to see Leon and Usman fight in London for a title. Yeah. Would it be pretty cool to be the guy to bring them back for a pay-per-view here? Let's say like Leon does.
I'd love to do that. Yeah. I'd love to do that.
For a world title.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I love the O2 Arena though. I absolutely love the O2 Arena. And Leon's performance was absolutely masterful and underappreciated, in my opinion. I think he did some stuff ridiculously well that the casual fan struggles to see. And I think it was absolutely masterful performance by Leon. And Leon's amazing. Yeah. Leon's awesome.
Are you rooting for him against Colby then?
Yeah. Are they fighting though? What's going on with that?
I think they're still. Like Colby's obviously going to be the next guy because Dana has sort of just ruled out any possibility it could be anyone else.
It's a bit strange, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit strange.
It's funny because then you turn the questions back on me and I have to be the one to clam up with my speculation.
I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
You're going to say, because something to do with that lawsuit thing. I've seen a lot of speculation on that online. People were saying that he's going to get the...
Oh, for Masvidal.
They told Masvidal that if he drops the charges, that...
If Colby drops
the charges, he can have the title shot or something like that. But that seems a bit conspiracy theory.
It does a little bit. I saw speculation that it's like, well, he's Trump's favourite fighter and Trump's running for president, so they can have a champion next to him. Or maybe Dana's just like, Colby versus Leon is the biggest fight we can make in that division.
It probably is.
Yeah,
it probably is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless they're going to do Kamzat. That's a big fight.
I think he might be...
Is he 85 now, is he?
I don't think they know. I think the Usman fight is like the one they're toying with just based on cost of fighting. I love how we speak more about fights in other divisions than your fights.
Well, let's speak about mine if you want.
No, I'm cool. It's just
I've got media day. I've got a media tour, they're calling it now. Yeah. For the next 2 days.
Tour. That's how you know you made it up the rankings.
So I'm going to be talking about my fight for the next 2 days, but I should imagine people watching this will want to hear about my fight. So ask me, go on.
Where is Tybura's biggest threat to you? Is it just in his sort of unorthodox nature and being able to take punishment? Is it in his grappling? Is it in his striking? Where does he actually pose a threat to you?
I think he's got great conditioning, even though his body type suggests otherwise. I think a lot of people are. I'm not saying. People literally think if you look in good shape, you like in good shape cardio-wise, and it's not like always the case. I think he's got great conditioning. He outlasts a lot of his opponents. I think that he's very unorthodox. Switches his feet a lot, which is something that not a lot of people do. He's very tough. He doesn't quit. Definitely doesn't quit. And he can really make he can really make you look bad. He can really like make the fight ugly and squish you and lean on you and throw some weird, funny stuff. Yeah. And pretty tough guy to prepare for, to be honest. It's hard to get people like that.
Do you think that you're stronger than him, and so his like? I know exactly what you're referring to, like the ability to just get in the clinch and against the cage. Like, are you able? Did you think that's not something I have to be concerned with?
Mate, I'm ridiculously strong right now. I'm the strongest I've ever been in my life right now. So I've got plenty big guys in the gym. You'll see tomorrow, mate. You're coming tomorrow. 10 people who are watching that won't see. But I've got like 10 plus pro heavyweights to train with. UFC guys who are fighting in Brave, KSW guys, Russians, people from all over coming to train a camp that my dad set up, and it's going like really, really well. And I've just got so many high level bodies, and it's really good for me that I've got regular high level heavyweights to train with, because I know where I'm at physically. Like I'm in check constantly about where I'm at, and I'm so strong right now, that physically strong. I'm more strong, mate, than I've ever been before in my life, definitely.
Nice. I'm excited to see, man. Your performance against Volkov was obviously just a clinic.
Yep.
In my opinion, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but in my opinion, I suspect we could see something like that too. If your movement is even better than it was, I think with Marcin's movement, I think that's where you're going to have like a lot of success. I think it's exciting, and I think it's cool that, you know, just for the way it sort of panned out the first London event when it was Molly, you, Paddy, and it was just like Arnold as well, just wins. I sort of felt like the O2 was being built as like your sort of spiritual home for your career. So it's pretty exciting to see you back.
I'm very excited to be back. And London is my place that I love fighting. I love fighting other places as well, but if we can do it in front of the UK fans, damn right I'll take that. Damn right I'll take it. That's good stuff.
It's going to be exciting. What's the prediction? Specific, first round knockout, 3 minutes, 32 seconds.
I think my kicks are really dangerous right now, which is something that I've never had before. I think my kicking game is something that I've never been able to show before, because I've been injured the whole time. And
well, you threw a kick and we saw what happened.
I threw a kick and then my fucking knee exploded. So I would say it's kicks. I'm going to utilise a lot of kicks, and that'll be great.
Bomb.